All right. Look like we are just. Well, I'm just getting set up here. See where everyone gets in. Might as well tag everyone while I'm at it as well. Make sure as many people as possible see it. Yeah, we've got about 40. We're about 40 seconds in. So just because it's the benefit, just for the benefit of people who watch the stream back in its entirety, hello. This is not probably the voice you expected to hear in the tier 2 comms box, but it's the voice you're going to have to put up with. Hello, it's Pyro here. If you didn't gather that by my voice before, or haven't watched this channel before, you'll hear my voice around quite a lot. I'm doing tier 2 and tier 5 for GT for the foreseeable future. I also do a couple of the F1 stuff as well. But as you could probably tell from the title of this stream, it's time to shine a little bit of light on the tier 2 stuff in this server. Hopefully a pretty good race coming up, but we will go through it all as it comes along and just wait for a few people to get in the stream so far. Just tagged here too to say I am live. Let's see how many of them actually pay attention to that and not practicing instead. But yeah, so today's been planned out pretty well for me. Got tier 2 to do now and put all my effort into that before getting to chill down and watch the Ravens later on, which is always fun. Playoff game of the NFL season is some of the best time of the year. Why not pair that with a little bit of racing and a little bit of the fast guys? Obviously, those who were watching what I was doing on, I think it was Thursday. I think it was Thursday about 3 o'clock actually. I started the tier 5 stream and watched the tier 5 guys go at it, which is second lowest tier in the league. That was pretty fun. Actually, relatively clean racing, and a lot of stuff did happen. A lot of battles, a lot of missed opportunities. I assume we might be seeing something very similar when it comes to this one. They'll give it about 5-ish minutes before so everyone can get in. Just tagging also in the main chat just because. Let's see how many people we can actually get into the YouTube stream. Give it maybe like 3 or 4 more minutes before I go through the beginning grid order, going through what happened in qualifying, and then we will start the race around about 10 past. That's the aim anyway. Maybe a little bit, but that engine will blow up. That is a fair point. It's just got a more old engine blaring in the start here. It's got it paused. I'm also not entirely sure why that's flickering. It's a paused thing right now. Nothing's moving, as you can see. All the wind's still the same. We haven't got any more red lights. So it's just the engine just flashing for absolutely no reason. But yeah, welcome to everybody just joining us now, week 1 for tier 2. It looks like we've got a few very interesting cars, especially at the front anyway. I'm going to just actually not go for the names, but go for the car choices while we fill in the time. So at the front, Dodge Viper. I can't imagine what team that is. Starting on pole, you got Ford. And AMG 20 is probably the first of the actual normal cars you would usually see on a grid like this, especially in this league. RCZ in fourth, Subaru. Then you got your Porsche. The other two Dodges in the top 7. It's not a bad sign. Two Porsches in the top 8. Not Porsches, two Peugeots, sorry. The RCZ's in the top 8. The other Porsche were in 9th. We're heading into the back half now. There's AMG. The GTR did not start. The GTR did not start very high at all. And then you got two Jaguars, the BRD, and an M6, and a Elite. And then in the GTR heading off the back. No, I don't want a replay loop. I want the driver names. All right. With that, we are about 8 minutes past 8 now, so I will actually start going through the grid before we get going as a whole. Everyone can hear me nicely, right? Before, just as an added thing before we start, everyone can hear me quite clear. My mic will eventually clip when I get loud, but as a forewarning, but that is expected of whenever I do anything at this point. Loud and clear. Good. That's a very good sign. Right, so going through the grid, this is how we set up at the end of qualifying then for Tier 2. Mortal was relegated from Tier 1 last season, currently put on pole in Tier 2, first race in Tier 2 for him. You got Fatban in second in the 4GT. It's a widely expected to be a very good car on this track. Maybe not later on into the season, but in this track anyway, a very good car nonetheless. So you got, I believe, that is that's Honey Badger actually up in Bosnian, right? Could be wrong. Just a couple of the guys. It's actually replays are done in nicknames, and that is infuriating. Need to sort that out. They're both Dutch as well, so I'm gonna have to do a very quick look at this. I can't even look at the standings. Like a car selection. That's probably a good idea. That way I avoid all what happened. Any unnecessary spoilers, I think, is the way we can put it. So, oh my God, they're both in the same car. Of course they're teammates. Wait, are they? Can't really tell if they're meant to be teammates or not. Think so. All the Dutch dudes in the world. Turbo Boy's fourth. And then Van der Speck is actually no. That's not the same guy. That's Speck. Yeah, Honey Badger's third, and that's Speck in fifth. That's not even on the same team. I don't even know what I'm looking at this point. Perry is sixth. Dude is seventh. Then you got Lord Asseldor, which is a name that is one of the best names I've ever seen in this server. He currently set 8th. Ross is 9th. Zag is 10th. No, Fat Man. No, I will not. The more you talk, the more I'm just going to abuse you for an hour and 20 minutes. And you got Tepos in 11th. Chris in 12th. Faxed in 13th. You got Passy in 14th. Steger in 15th. And Elite at the rear of the field in his GTR. I actually see everyone's livery in the race for once. I didn't see that on Thursday afternoon in tier 3. But yeah, right, that's the grid gone through, and we're all but about to start the race. All right, here we go. All right, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. And it's lights out, and away we go. That Ford is a lightning bolt off the start and should realistically take the lead and down into turn 1. The Viper's not that bad of a start, but it's definitely got nothing on that Ford GT and down into turn 1. Turning on the Ford GT is difficult, but Fatban on the inside right now takes the lead of this race. For a brief moment, Mortal's got himself on the inside of turn 3 here against Fatban and manages to take the lead back from the Ford GT, and we've got a Bosnian in the third right now, and he's just my microphone is bugging. That's not good. It should not be. That's not good. As we got a Turbo Boy in fourth, Van der Speck in fifth, Dude in sixth right now. Got a position. You've got a Anton in, Asseldor in seventh as well. He gained a position as Perry did not start very well in the slightest. Chris in ninth. It's just clipping. Yeah, okay, it's static. That's not normal. Let me just do. I'd say if it's just clipping, we're fine. Also, we'll go back 10 seconds just so I've got everything back to where we were before. This is the first full race you've seen. That's fair. It's yeah, my mic is known for clipping, but only on stream, and I'm not entirely sure why. This race happened on the prior Monday, about 6 days ago. But right, I'm going to get back into doing comms if we're all good to go. Right. And we've got Zargas here is just getting a bit on the outside, did not get too nicely into the beginning of this race. He's dropped down to 11 and got a second penalty. Yeah, he picked a great one to start. Right, and yeah, Zarga's going to get overtaken here by Ross, I think, on the inside as well. Oh, my mic is all the way down. As we got our factors on the inside here, on the outside here, sorry, and crashed into the back of Zarga's, and probably want to avoid doing that too often, as Elite is also trying to put himself in the mix here. Both as the Jaguar is also not exactly getting off to a great start either, as we're currently the back. Steger's dropped to the back here. I think he got past here alongside him as well. We're going to continue to watch this little battle. Elite on the inside of our factors, and Elite's going to get that move as it's Philadelphia Eagles livery. We can laugh at him after the last weekend in the start of this one. We've got a couple of guys with penalties. We've actually got Tepos here against I think that was Perry up in front as well. Perry with a 1 second penalty and holds on to 8th as it stands. A little bit of contact, I think, through the corner here down towards the tunnel in sector 2 as these two continue on. Batman all the way in 7th already, which is pretty much what you expect from Batman. And Van der Speck up into second, pretty much as good of a first lap as it could have got for him. Mortal right now in complete control at the start of this race. We're going to go further back for the moment and watch Van der Speck versus Bosnian, and Dude also trying to get himself involved a little bit here. Here comes Bosnian to the inside of that Subaru, and is he going to get a good enough exit to push past that Subaru? No, he is not, and maybe coming under fire from the Viper behind him. So Van der Speck holds on to second a little bit here. We're going to go pretty heavily here down towards turn 1. We've got Dude on the outside in his Viper, and well, I think Bosnian's boxed in a little bit here. He's trying to avoid getting boxed in nonetheless, and now we're going to go 3 wide down towards turn 1. We've got Van der Speck on the inside here, Dude on the outside, and Bosnian trying to follow through a hole created by Van der Speck on the inside of turn 1, and does so relatively nicely at the beginning of this race and holds on to third as that BRG doing a little bit of a number on the Viper at the moment. As I say that, Mortal is still head and shoulders above everyone else at the start of this sprint race. Turbo also trying to get himself involved. That RCZ, probably not the greatest around here, but it will try and get itself involved sooner rather than later. Fatman also still there and thereabouts, but in 6th. Mercedes is up there. It's definitely up there. I think Ford overall is the meta car. It's like, it's got the disturbance to go down. That's a bit over the top, Lord Hans. Here comes Bosnian trying to look to the inside again on Van der Speck, but doesn't try anything here. And Fatman is on the outside of Turbo, and that doesn't work either. The RCZs probably should start working together here against that Ford GT before that Ford GT gets going, because if it does get going, then it isn't going to have much of a competition against this RCZ, especially a straight line. And there you go. Exactly as we say that, Fatman on the outside with the line and with the speed, and a little bit of a switch between the two, and that's going to go to Fatman pretty easily on the inside there. And I think Lord Hasseldor is going to try and follow through the little hole created against his own teammate, but doesn't actually make a move in the end, just sits behind Turbo for now. Fatman up into 5th. He's just in a little bit of that is a Lightning McQueen livery, yes it is. On that Ford GT, you'll see it ran a couple of times this season, especially if he gets into Le Mans as well, which is the other one he wants to do. But yeah, it's only going to make a couple of appearances on the season. Fatman just needs to watch it a little bit. That looked slightly over aggressive as dude got on the grass in his Viper. You don't want to be making a bit of a rookie error there on both sides of the coin. You don't want to be making a mistake that could actually end up in your race ending. And we still got Van der Speck fighting against Bosnian as we go into the into the hairpin here. Oh, Fatman's deep. Fatman has got deep, and there's a little bit of rear contact there with dude as well, and it's a bit of a deep move there from Fatman, and just not enough on the brakes, and dude will just take that one rolling and keep 4th position, as well as we got Hasseldor that's gone by on Turbo Boy. I don't know if that was just a teammate switch or just Hasseldor getting a good enough run through this hairpin, and Hasseldor will close the door on his teammate there, as well as he tries to catch up to Fatman in the top 5. Dude still there. We've got a bit of a battle at the front as well. Well, minus Mortal. I think H22 is if you're in the Discord, you might want to go have a look at GT chat from a couple of days ago, and that'll prove your point. But yeah, there's still got a bunch of people fighting here. Tepos has done a good job. He's up into 8th. Elite is in 9th as well in his Philadelphia Eagles livery, who's qualified as bad as his team has played in the last 6 weeks. Then you got Ross in 10th. Not really a good day for him. Not a good day for Porsche at the start. Full stop, 10th, and I think that's 16th there for Pasty at the back. You don't have Discord, oh well. Yeah, everyone is aware of Fatman's YouTube incidents, I think is the best way of putting it. On a daily basis in the daily races anyway. It almost feels like a new video every other day. Where Fatman is involved. And here comes dude who's lost a few positions now. He's down into 7th against Turbo Boy. He should have the pace given that he's in a Viper, but won't make a move on the outside here, and might be at the mercy of Tepos before he gets another shot. Yeah, a bit of rivalry with Key. Yeah. It looks like dude. Yeah, he's gonna have to suffer a little bit behind the RCZ now, as I think I'm not sure if it was a penalty or a half spin or something that caused him to lose at least 3 positions. And yeah, now it might be a case he might be about to lose a 4th, as we're going to watch through the middle sector here. We've also got the battle going on between the two RCZ just in front of this. We're going to continue to keep an eye on both these battles. The battle for the front, for second place seems to have cooled off just a little bit, which allows the mid-card and the mid-table drivers at this point in time to shine a little bit more. As we actually, it looked like Turbo Boy just backed out of a move there. He could have had his teammate, but again, you don't want to be fighting your teammate an awful lot, especially when you've got a Viper and a GTR right on the back of you. And here comes the Viper on the outside with the pace. The dude on the outside of Turbo. This should be relatively easy going given the speed of the two cars we're having a fight with. And yeah, dude's going to get that one done before we even hit turn one. That's just the speed of the Viper on show. Here comes Turbo Boy on the inside. That's a little bit of netcode. That's a little bit of a push as well. There's 2 drivers per team in this tier, and in every tier on this server actually. You'll see a pair of each version of the car. There's 16 drivers on the grid, so 8 different teams on the grid at this point in time. Mortal and Dude are the team here, as we're currently watching Dude go against Turbo Boy once again after a little bit of netcode, a little bit of unfortunate situation that allowed Turbo Boy to go back past on the Dude in turn 1. Both the teammates should have a similar livery. They do not have to be identical, just enough to tell me that they are on the same team. As I consider, like, the best example of that is Tepos and Elite, in 8th and 9th right now. Both have different liveries, but in the same car, on the same team, and I'm aware of that, so it's fine. So here comes the Dude again. We'll continue to watch these guys through that hairpin and down towards turn 1. A little bit of contact again, but Dude, with the pace and the Viper, should be able to make this one as well. He did it earlier on. He's going to have the slipstream from Asseldor, who's in 5th now. And Dude should... Here comes Turbo Boy on the inside again. That's a bit of a deep shot. He's made it work without contact, which is impressive in its own right. But that was coming from quite a way back there from Turbo Boy. Just about got that to stick. We're going to go a little bit further forward, check everyone at the front before we go back to that battle, as Mortal is currently clear by quite a margin. He's got a couple of corner advantages. Van der Steck is still, Van der Speck even, I can't speak English today, who's currently still in 2nd Bosnian, not that far behind in 3rd, but also not in the range of an overtake, maybe just about in range of slipstream. And then you got Fatban in that 4GT. His straight line speed should be able to bring him into the battle sooner rather than later. Won't happen in this straight line, in the tunnel here down towards this hairpin though. He's a bit too far back, and we'll see if he's gonna go for it anyway. No, he is not. Here comes Turbo Boy and Asseldor. Also got Dude and Tepos. They're side by side going through this hairpin now, and the Viper just has a good enough acceleration on the exit to hold off that GTR for now, and maybe have round 3 with Turbo Boy. As they go down through the final corner again, and we might be going for round 3. Here comes Dude on the inside line this time. Maybe a little bit of a wiser move. Turbo Boy can't dive bomb that way on the inside line, and the Viper with the speed has got the inside line and the position there on Turbo Boy, and it's finally executed a lot better by the Dude, and he's back up into 6th, and yeah, he will get that for now as well. Ross is a bit tailed off right now. You got Tepos on the back of that power 4-pack. Also, I think Elite might be about to join this group as well, and they are about to join this group. It looks like the Dude is going to have to go after Asseldor before Turbo Boy gets a second shot at this. But both the GTRs trying to make themselves announced in this race. We're going to go a little bit further forward, because now we've got a little bit of a battle going on. Fatban overtook Bosnian in the last lap or so. Maybe, I'm assuming that was down towards turn 1, given the exit speed of that Ford. Can that Ford get close enough to the BRZ to make something happen now? In first gear, should get a decent exit, but I don't think it's close enough. We're going to go back to the battle further back. We've got a little bit of a run here from Elite, who's going to go after Turbo Boy on the inside here. My voice just died for no apparent reason there. But yeah, Turbo Boy is just getting outdone by the speed of some of these cars, and I don't know if Turbo Boy's going to hold this one. Turbo Boy is going to hold this one in the RCZ. That's pretty nicely done there by the RCZ to hold that position on the GTRs. I say GTRs plural because they're both here, and Ross is also now just quietly tagging along. We're on lap 10 of 11 in this race, because it's about 15 minutes, and it's about 11 laps then. That's what that roughly equates to, and the feature will be 27 or 28, I believe. Yeah, Ross has now tagged himself on the back. We're just going to continue watching this absolute chaos of a battle for the midfield at the moment. About 6th onwards. Here comes Turbo Boy on the inside of the Viper. Viper's gone deep a little bit again, but the Viper should get a good enough exit. And will get a good enough exit that he's held onto the position for now. The slipstream will not be a kind thing for that Viper, as he's going to have to just be maybe a little bit of a sitting duck unless all these guys behind fight, and they are going to fight. Turbo's on the inside now against both the GTRs. Tepos is now going after his teammate with the inside line. That's an absolutely exquisite exit there from Elite. That is a beautiful move to the inside. Got the exit, got the position, and that's about as good of a move as you'll see all day. Fair play. That move is better than anything his team's done since the month of December. As we're going to go back down towards turn 1, and Turbo Boy is back in front of the GTRs with the speed of the RC. Oh, it's a little bit of contact, and we're going through, and there's more contact, and Turbo Boy has been spun. Turbo Boy has been spun, and that was a bit questionable there. Elite just squeezing him off the track at the front out of turn 1, and after that, a bit of contact from Ross, and I think a little bit of a bounce from Tepos as well, playing a little bit of a pinball effect. You don't want to be seeing that too often, as we are actually going to head towards the front of the grid a little bit here. And Mortal is currently in cruise control and has been since the start of this race. Fatman's currently in second. He overtook Bosnian. He's also overtook Van der Svek, who's must have had a penalty or a half spin or something of some nature. And Van der Svek is about to lose another position. Asseldor on the outside. Can he hold it? No, he cannot. And he's off the track. Doesn't have to. Van der Svek doesn't have to give him the ability to re-enter. These two are going to go fighting all the way down as Mortal goes over the line now, and Mortal comfortably wins the sprint race. Fatman is going to get second. Bosnian is going to get third. That's the podium for the sprint race, and there goes Asseldor, who's going to get himself over the line for fourth place. And the second is going to get fifth. Dude gets sixth in the end. That's a nice drive from him. Elite gets himself seventh after some questionable contact. We'll see how that's done in the stewards. Ross gets eighth as well. You don't want to be seeing what happened down the final lap too often. Tepos got ninth, and Turbo Boy rounds out the sprint points in 10th. He managed to still get a point even after the spin right at the end there. It's still pretty admirable. He would have probably got himself a 7th if he hadn't had that. But we're not done, H22. We're not done. So, for anyone who hasn't watched this before, it's clear that we have a couple of people who haven't. This league works where we do 10 minutes qualifying. I don't know why I'm doing this in the middle. 10 minutes qualifying, which we don't show on stream because there's a nightmare to get that replay saved. Then we do a 15-minute sprint race, which is what you just saw. And then I'll take a break. I'll get a little bit of drink, maybe a couple of minutes, watch it down, and we'll download it. And then we watch a 40-minute feature. We still have 40 minutes left on this stream. At least, sorry. Giving me a couple of minutes there, here or there to get everything downloaded and to take a drink. So my voice doesn't die and we can actually do the 40 minutes. There's Switzerland, and we tag in, I'll put ALR in the tag, make my life a lot easier, and find Ross's feature, which is right there. I'm going to take a quick drink while this downloads, so apologies if you can hear me take a drink. Only 25 minutes, yeah. I don't do a lot of the daily races. I don't know what it is. Here you have to do a pit. You have to do a pit stop in the 40-minute race. You have to use a different set of tires So for examples, if you start in the softs, you will have to go, might as well do tier 6 while I'm streaming. If the Ravens wasn't at 9:30, I might have considered it, but I'll leave Moose to that one. I'll see if I can get a hold of Moose, actually, see if he can get that one done, but I know he's a Ravens fan too, so that's probably not going to be tonight. But yeah, so the rules for you have to do a pit stop. The tyre wear around Deep Forest is not a generally high tyre wear anyway. We did a race last season, whereas Alsace, where people two-stopped because it was a 10-second pit stop and all this. It was not a... there is a mandatory pit stop, but it's not... that's all you have to do, basically. Like, you can do 2 if you think it's quicker, but Deep Forest, you're not going to see it. Deep Forest doesn't have high tyre wear at all. You're going to see roughly... maybe 12 laps on mediums, everyone go for the pits. I mean, yeah, technically, if your fuel and your tires could clear that far, you could, in theory, but your tires and your fuel aren't going to reach that far. You'll see here, people will do maybe 11 or 12 laps on the medium tire and then go on to the soft the rest of the race because it's on times 4, the tire wear. And Deep Forest doesn't have a lot of tyre wear as a track as a whole. It's one of those tracks where everything is pretty straightforward. It'll be one of those. It's probably the easiest. This isn't going to turn into a fuel-saving race. Everyone will have done their strategies accordingly. You just have, like most people's tanks, I think will go 18 or something of that nature. Like it's a forced pit stop basically, but you don't have to tire or fuel save around this one at the very least. All right, so going through the grid for the second race. So I believe that is Honey Badger. Yes, that is Honey Badger. There will be, if you go on GT, if you go on GT and you type in, I believe this will have ALR as a tag actually. I'm not entirely sure, but I know Honey Badger made this. So it would either be ALR or RLS, I believe his team name is. That'll be the tag if you want to find it. But yeah, the Mercedes livery, just on reverse grid pole. That's the extra caveat to the feature races. It's the opposite order of how the sprint ends. So if you end 16th, you will be on pole for this one. It doesn't usually mean you'll win, but it means you have a good shot. So yeah. Mercedes on mediums on pole, you are factored in the Jaguar. I still think people who chose the Jaguar were drunk on the mediums. In second, you got Perry in the Porsche. In third, on the medium tires as well, you'll see that that'll become a theme. Everyone, more than likely, in Tier 2 have done enough races at this point to know that the medium tires is what you have to start on. Chris in the Jaguar in fourth, medium tires as well. Softs for the BRZ in fifth. Past is... that's an interesting choice. I'll give him that much. Turbo Boy in sixth in the RCZ on the medium tires. Tepos as well. Seventh on the mediums. Ross in eighth. Elite in ninth. Still going to clown that Philadelphia livery till the end of time. Dude in 10th. Van der Svek in 11th. Asseldor in 12th. Bosnian 13th. Fatban 14th. And Mortal, who won our first race of the season in the sprint, as we just watched, will start the feature race here at Deep Forest, the first round of the season, at the back. And just the one on the soft tires. We'll see how that plays out. But rolling start, and we're about to get underway. I'm just waiting for the little klaxon to go in my ears so I know when we're starting. And that seems like now. 3, 2, 1, and here we go. We're off to the races here in the feature race. 40 minutes now on the clock. As we go down toward turn 1, Honey Badger is still going to hold this pretty nicely. There was no way that Jaguar was going to get to him by turn 1, and that Mercedes should get a pretty good start. Perry in third, not making the needle move either. Chris not getting close enough to make something stick on the Porsche. But Turbo Boy is a little bit rough on the start. Same with Tapos, and we also Pasty dropping quite a significant way. Pasty dropping from, I believe, 5th to 7th off the start of this race. Oh, we've got contact already. We're going to go by. I think Pasty's not going to have fun with this one. I think we're going to have to go by. Let's see what happened here. Is it? I think yeah, it's dude. Oh, that's a bit of contact on the back of Elite, and that has killed. That's killed Pasty, and that's not good news for the BRZ on the soft tyres. And any gamble he had on the soft tyres has effectively washed away after half a lap. That is not good news at all for the BRZ team whatsoever, and definitely not for Pasty either. But it is only lap 1. There is a chance to fight your way back through, as Bosnian got a second, and Van der Sek is also half a second worth of penalties under his name. As we're going to go back towards the front of the grid here a little bit. Nothing happening in the top 5, and it doesn't look like anything happening there between Elite and Ross either. Looks like we got more of the battles in the midfield than we got at the front at this point in time, even though Perry and R-Factor should go at each other sooner rather than later. It looks like Elite is going to try and find his way by against Ross to see if he can actually do it. We got Ross on the... Oh, wow, he looked to be to the inside until Elite goes deep and manages with a little bit of contact to get past Ross. I've only just realised that on the opposite side of Elite's car there's a Milwaukee Buck on there as well, which is even funnier after they lost to by 40 to Cleveland the other day. But yeah, Ross has just lost his position to Elite. He's moved up into 7th. Let's see what happened further back. The penalties haven't been served just as of yet. Fatman and Dasseldor not really able to do anything, but Mortal is still behind Pasty. I'm not entirely sure how after Pasty got punted into oblivion on lap 1. But he is still on the soft Pasty, so that may have been what helped him. We're going to go towards the front for a split second though, see if anything is happening more with the guys that were slower in the first race. But there's a couple of guys here that definitely should be able to take advantage of their place. Here comes Perry on the inside, but he's deep. He's got deep. And there's a Factor that's going to take that position back quite nicely. That's well played by our Factor. Spotted the little bit of a late break there by Perry. Got out of the way, took the underneath, and had to take what Perry was giving him. And did it very well as they go down towards turn 1 now. And Chris is going to try and get himself involved here against Perry. Chris on the outside in that Jaguar, Perry on the inside in the Porsche. This should, in theory, be Perry's line to lose. And it is, in fact, the case that has happened. Perry staying in 3rd. Had the opportunity to move up into 2nd, but did a fracas on the way through. For the reference to the Tier 5 stream on Thursday afternoon. If you haven't watched that, please do. It was quite an enjoyable day. Yeah, as we got Turbo Boy just going... Oh, Chris has got 2 seconds. I'm not entirely sure. I think it must have been going a bit too shallow in the hairpit, in the tunnel, sorry. That's not good news for Chris. He's going to have to serve his penalty now as we watch Perry and R-Factor. Yes, it is. You're stuck with my glorious voice for the foreseeable future in Tier 2. Here comes Perry on the inside, trying to make a little bit of a redemption from the lap prior. Has the inside line now on R-Factor. And I think R-Factor got a bit too deep there. And that's going to gift Perry a position, and Perry's up into 2nd. As Honey Badger is veering off into the distance right now. So Perry up into 2nd. R-Factor's going to have to defend from Turbo Boy now, and I did not catch the Tier 4 video. I do not want to relive my spins. Here comes Ross on the outside of Elite. Elite on the inside, Ross on the outside. This, in theory, should be Elite's line, and it will be Elite's line, and he's going to take that quite nicely against Ross in that Porsche as the GTR holds on for a little bit longer. Turbo Boy going against our Faxid now as well, but our Faxid should hold on for a little bit longer. As we're now going into the beginning of Sector 2, this is the most awkward corner on the track. In my opinion, you just either get it right or you get that very wrong, and there's no in between usually as we go down toward the end of Sector 2 now onto the back straight. As Turbo Boy should have a pretty good run here against our Faxid in that Jaguar. Still think the people who chose the Jaguar were not... yeah, I don't think it was a good choice after all. Maybe you might get blessed after the 25th. But for now, Turbo Boy on the outside against our Faxid here. Can he do it with a better exit? He absolutely can, and maybe even maybe allow for Elite to follow through the gap. No, there isn't a hole created there for Elite to try and force his way through. And Turbo Boy is going to get himself up into third. Our Faxid's going to have to defend for his life now, as we're going to watch Elite try and pierce himself through that little bit of a hole through the middle of the two. And now we're going to go 3 wide. Actually, Elite backs out, which is probably more self-preservation, and to try and follow through the hole created here by Turbo Boy. And now he's alongside our Faxid. And I think a little bit of contact, but it was just a bit of rubbing, and Elite is going to get himself in front of our Faxid here. And that's pretty nicely done by Elite, moved up into 4th. And him and Turbo Boy both getting by the Jaguar, who's just seemingly falling all the way down the grid as we go along. Then we got Ross, Dude, and Chrissy all alongside each other at the, well, on the back of each other right now. We'll see if anything changes in the next lap or so. The front of the grid is pretty separated at this point. No move's going to happen in the front 4. There's a penalty here for Ross and a penalty here for the Dude as well. That's not good news. They'll serve them on the next lap, I assume. They picked him up at the end of Sector 2, which is exactly actually what happened. Here comes Chris, looking to the inside of the Dude there, deciding not to. And the Dude should have a good exit here against that Porsche. We've got a... What on earth is happening here? I need to go back about 10 seconds. We're just going to have a little bit of a live action replay, I think, to figure out what on earth is going on in the background. Fatman had a penalty to serve. He's got himself in front of Van der Sek right now. And Bosnian as well. Oh, and there's a bit more contact, I think, there as well. Hasseldor, Pasti, and Tepos all at each other's throats. And it looks like Pasti, they've all managed to get through that relatively unscathed. It doesn't look like that Peugeot's got control of his car, though. Hasseldor needs to regain a little bit of speed, a little bit of control on that car. But right now, that he's managed to get back in front of Tepos. Here comes Mortal versus Bosnian. We'll see whether or not that's going to be good news here for Mortal. He's got the inside line. And the inside line does make Mortal go by on the inside there against Bosnian, and I think most of that in the back has managed to clear itself up. We've still got penalties and a little bit of a train forming here in the mid pack. Everyone is starting to separate into little groups. The front 4 a little bit a bit clear. Then we've got these 3 or 4 drivers in the midst here, trying to fight each other. We've got 2 of them being Jags, and Dude and Ross has also got past our Faxid and starting to just a little bit waltz into the distance here. And then we've got everyone at the back here. We've got Van der Speck, who managed to get past Fatban, but Fatban's going to have the line here on the inside, and the speed, and a lot of speed at that, to try and make a move, and does get the move done on Van der Speck here, and the inside line should be able to give that Ford a good enough exit to hold that position. As well against that BRZ. Then you've got Mortal and Bosnian both going at each other again, going into the final corner of this lap. They were on the final corner of the last lap as well. We'll see this continue onwards, and Van der Speck and that BRZ on the medium tyres, probably experiencing a little bit less wear than everyone else. Here comes Mortal on the inside of Bosnian again, maybe a hole this time to try and follow through on Van der Speck as well, but doesn't actually take advantage of that. Here comes these two going side by side into Sector 1. And it looks like Mortal's going to lose out that position. He has. That is pretty good driving there for Bosnian, and I think he'll be pretty happy with that overtake. Those two continuously seemingly going back and forth as Fatban has caught onto the back of Ross. I'm not entirely sure what happened to Ross there. But he's back down in 8th. Back behind both the Jags, and now the entire grid from 4th, from 5th, all the way back to the back of the grid, all together already. And it's certainly something at the beginning of this race. I say at the beginning, we're heading into the middle of this race now on the end of lap 7. We've got Van der Sek and Bosnian going at it down towards this hairpin. Who's got the inside line? Who's going to get the better exit? Bosnian's got the inside line. The better exit, however, will go to that BRZ. The wider exit, seemingly the more powerful exit around Deep Forest than a hairpin. Look, a little bit of bump drafting there from Bosnian. Don't want to be doing that too often. You want to be getting past the guy in front of you, not helping that guy out. Both the BRZs are fighting against people directly behind them right now. Here comes Mortal again, and we're going for round 3. Mortal versus Bosnian, round 3, down into turn 1 again. The inside line for that Viper again. And Bosnian is now boxed in, or it was boxed in until Mortal backed out. And that is pretty good driving by all 3 there to hold on to their positions. And the defending has been pretty well done at the back of this grid so far. Well, that's a little bit of a slide that I don't think Van der Sek would have wanted. And here comes Bosnian, and Bosnian goes on through. That is an unfortunate mistake there from Van der Sek. He doesn't want to be doing that too often, as he got another BRZ almost directly behind him now. It's Fatban with the speed, should be able to get past Ross in the Porsche, as Ross in the Porsche is also going against Chris. I think Chris might not be serving his penalty this time. No, he isn't. He only just picked it up at the end of Sector 2. Here comes Ross on the inside, and also Fatban, who's a little boxed in with the inside line against Chris now, and also Bosnian trying to make a name for himself in this battle as well. And it doesn't really happen here for Bosnian, but it will happen for Fatban, who's got himself past Chris. And, well, that speed is going to hold him in that position for sure. Whether or not he gets close enough to Ross is a different question. Ross makes his one move to the inside to defend that inside against Fatban, but Fatban also goes to the inside furthermore. And Fatban on the inside line against Ross on the outside here. Can it happen? There's a little bit of contact between the two of them. Ross is still ahead at this point in time. My voice is not happy with me. I'm not entirely sure why. And it's just taking a very quick drink here. It just pours it very quickly. And then going back and give that more of its deserved attention. Don't know why my voice had died 12 minutes into this one. Doesn't usually do that. But yeah, let's go back and give this a proper benefit, a proper watch back, because we got Bosnian and Chris going at each other here. Also had Ross and Fatban going at it, but Ross is going to win that. Oh, someone's in the wall! Someone is in the wall! Someone is in the wall there. I'm not entirely sure who it is. Oh, that did not look good either. We're just going to go back again. Here. Chris has just about saved himself on the wall at the start, and we're going to watch Chris again, because I think it's his car that goes into the wall on the exit here as well. Give me a good... Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. That's unfortunate for Chris. That is unfortunate for Chris, as I think that was Van der Sek that continues on in as well. It's the Jag. The Jag is not a friend of his. Let's just say that. Also coming down from tier 1, you would expect a little bit more from him. Ross gets overtaken by a couple of drivers there, as he had to serve a half-second penalty if he gained from the lap before. Fatban and Bosnian are going at it now in the midst of everything going on here. The front 3 have stayed the front 3 for a long time. So actually, same the front 4 actually, because Elite is still in 4th for the time being. 5th is in a world of its own as well, dude. Just ahead of the pack that we're currently watching. And yeah, Fatban down into turn 1 easily with that straight line speed on this track is going to make that work. But Bosnian is going to try and take advantage of a little bit of a wider line there from Fatban. And you don't want to be taking the too wide line through turn 1 too often, because you will get punished on the inside at least once. But for now, Fatman's going to survive a little bit longer. He had a little bit of a slide on the exit there. Oh, and a little bit of contact here from Bodnian. Maybe Ross is going to try and force his way through. It's so first one is an automatic promotion. Whoever wins the tier gets automatically promoted, and the rest is essentially admin, helper decision, whether or not we think people need to be moved up or down, and going through like the first couple of weeks of the season we have the ability to move people, and at the end of the season we have the ability to move people, not outside of those 2 dates. The first of those being next week. But yeah, 1 is a guaranteed promotion. You'll usually see maybe 3 or 4 go down depending on 3 or 4 go up, 3 or 4 go down depending on how many people sign up to a new season. That's usually the gist of it. Anyway, a helper is people who run GT part of the server, which is what you're currently watching. But yeah, Bodnian and Ross now. On the inside goes Ross. Can Ross make this move stick? Is he going to be able to make this move stick? He looks like he's the entire car in front now, and he is. And that's pretty good move down the inside by Ross on Bodnian there, who got caught lacking a little bit down into turn 1 and was made to pay for it rather quickly. Here comes Fatman versus Ross part 2. Also, we might get staff members. It's essentially the same thing. We call them helpers. People like you would be right to call them staff members. Yeah. But yeah, as we continue on, Bodnian looking to the inside there against Ross. Also, Fatman just a little bit in front here, trying to get on the back of Dude more than get overtaken by Ross. Ross doesn't have the straight line speed to catch up to him right now anyway, and maybe a little bit of fire coming from Bodnian here against Ross. And here comes Bodnian on the inside. He looked for it, chose not to, but Ross had got a little bit deep. Bodnian's going to try and look to the inside again, but doesn't get it, and that's pretty well defended by Ross in the end to cover off his a little bit deep, a little bit of a mistake, because he's now coming into the pits. Same with our Faxon actually. They both head into the pits now. We're going to go and look at round 4 between Bodnian and Mortal in this race alone. We'll see whether or not anything can happen. We've got Batman in the foreground there trying to overtake Dude, not doing it successfully. And same here for Mortal against Bodnian. Bodnian holding on against a rival here, I guess, is the best way of putting it. Because Mortal and Bodnian have been going at it for the prior 16 minutes. As we continue to look up a little bit here and look further up the grid, Dude and Fatman here going at it. Also, the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th have managed to close the gap on each other. There may be a little bit of a battle going on sooner rather than later between those. So the Ford has a advantage at this point in time in straight line speed. You're about to figure out, but it doesn't have that much of a straight line speed advantage over that Viper, but it needs the slipstream in order to do something. Here comes Fatman on the inside against the Dude. Dude has the inside line with that Viper. Actually doesn't even bother to go for it, but might look for the underneath, and this could be an excellent move. He can stick it. He's gonna stick it through the second to last corner, and that's an excellent move by the Dude there, as Fatman now dives into the pits. We've also got Perry and Turbo both diving in as well, as they move off of their medium tyre onto their soft tyre. Dude made an absolutely exquisite move. We saw that a relatively similar move with Elite earlier on. Here comes Bodnian, and that looked like a little bit of contact there between the two of them. Bodnian goes on by. It was not the cleanest of moves, I don't think, but it's still a move nonetheless by Bodnian. He makes himself at home in 3rd and actually puts himself a little bit of a buffer between him and Mortal, albeit the Dude and Mortal are teammates. And you see Dude trying to do a little bit of a plug in the YouTube chat. Don't do that. Don't you dare. Yeah, its acceleration it's great, but it doesn't have the tyre wear realistically either to do much. You have to have some real good pace with that Viper to make things stick, especially in a league like this with the tire multiplayer as it is. So Bosnian is still ahead here, ahead of the dude, ahead of Mortal as well. Asseldor is 6th, Basti is 7th, and Honey Badger is now coming to pit. Tepos is 8th, Turbo and Perry, they're actually really close to each other as they go through the beginning of the 3rd sector together now. Ross not that far further back, and Faxid is his little fight at the moment in time. Ross is just fending off the Jaguar relatively well right now, and you can see why people take the little bit of a deeper line. It's a faster exit as well, and he has very much cleared our Faxid just with that one simple little trick in the hairpin. Dude now comes into pit. Our Faxid is still there. Oh, it's Fatman and Van der Speck. These two going at each other. A little bit of contact there going through the final corner, and Fatman makes that easy with the straight line speed of that 4GT down the back, down the home straight. And Van der Speck is going to have to try something inventive here, but he isn't going to be able to do it. You get the wider exit and you get a better line, especially if you've got the acceleration in your car. And Fatman definitely does, as he's going to hold off Van der Speck for a little bit longer now after overtaking him down towards turn 1. Van der Speck looking to the inside again, maybe trying something here. He's got better cornering that 4GT than that 4GT. Maybe if they go side by side here, they're going to go side by side here. Vapan just about with the inside line, and enough contact is going to hold on against Van der Speck there. The Bosnian now pits. I think Bosnian was actually on the soft tyre. Yeah, Bosnian was on the soft tyre. He pits, so does Pasti. And so does Asseldor as well, Tepos as well. So most of the grid is pit. There's a penalty. A penalty there for Elite. A 1 second time penalty that splits that will be served on the next lap. Currently net P1 is here for Honey Badger. Currently in net P1. Mortal the last of the group to pit, I'm pretty sure. We got so we have Honey Badger from Elite, then from Turbo. Perry's just dropping off the back now of that RCZ. Perry not having the nicest of days. I thought he would have done a little bit better than he has been doing in that Porsche. But as I say that, he goes purple. Ross is there and thereabouts as well. He's currently 6th. He's clear of our Faxid. We'll see where Mortal comes out in comparison. Our Faxid's 7th, Bosnian's 8th, but he is right on the back of that Jaguar. Dude is 9th, Fatman is 10th. Dude is on the battle that we're currently watching between him, our Faxid, and Bosnian even. Fatman is there just ahead of Van der Speck, who's not been able to catch back up. Tepos coming out just behind these guys as well. You know, Asseldor 13th, Pasti 14th, and I think that's Chris. Yeah, that's Chris, who currently sits himself in 15th on the day. Dude has a penalty from the end of that second sector, so he's going to drop off this little group before at the end of next lap. He's going to have to try and make a move or two before that, just to keep himself involved so he doesn't drop back into the hands of Fatman. Mortal now in the pits as well, because that's a reserve team. So guys that are filling in, there are 2 people on that team, but only one is racing today in the place of a full-time driver. So here comes Dude on the inside. There's Mortal just coming out the pits as well. So Dude on the inside of Bosnian, and he probably gets that done. He will get that done. That's a pretty decent move on the inside against Bosnian, and he should take our Faxid really quickly before then having to serve that penalty and giving everyone it back. But for now, we're going to have round 4 between Bosnian and Mortal. See who comes out on top of that one. As we go to the front, as we see at the front of the grid, the front 4 again, after Elite's penalty, are just spread out enough for none of it to really matter. They're not going to make any moves on each other anytime soon. We're going to continue to watch this battle in the midfield here. 5th is also clear, which I believe is Perry. Is it Perry at this point? That's actually a penalty. And that's a penalty now being served by Elite. Oh, that's a bit of contact between him and Perry. going through that tunnel. You don't want to be doing that. Oh, I think there maybe a little bit more. That's not the way you want to see it. That's for sure. Ross is currently the guy in 5th, actually. Alfaxid's still in 6th. The dude served his penalty and dropped him back behind his teammate. So, Bosnian is now going to have to go after Alfaxid to protect himself from Mortal, who doesn't have to clear his teammate anymore. If anything, his teammate should be in the position to help him rather than hinder Mortal in his battles here, try and get into the top 6. Yeah, the guy in first, Honey Badger, is in cruise control of this race right now. We'll see whether or not that is going to continue throughout the rest of this one. We got Mortal, who's just about holding off his teammate at the moment. Bosnian just in front of these two as well, and Alfaxid holding his own in that Jaguar, which is a credit to him at this point in time. He started second, but he is 6th and is doing relatively well for himself in this one. I say that, watch that be a commentator's cursing. Someone, there's a yellow flag. There's a yellow flag. We're going to go a little bit further back. We're going to watch Elite's perspective here. Elite has spanned. God, my voice is just not having a fun time at the point. Oh, he's gone wide. Yeah, it's just a bit traction. He's lost it on traction. And that is not good news for Elite. Is he going to continue? Is he going to continue here? I think he just, no, he actually quits out. I'm going to need to go on broadcast camera because Elite quitting out has apparently screwed it. Right, so it's Honey Badger from Turbo, from Perry, and then Ross is now in 4th after Elite's, because it's a big point in the race. It's a big point in the race, and I wanted to see what happened because they didn't quite catch it the first time. So, Alfaxid up into 5th. This battle is now, this four-way is now a battle for 5th rather than a battle for 6th. Every point matters, especially at the beginning of the season. It's just about getting all the points you can on the board. Here comes Mortal against Bosnian down towards turn 1. Round 4 between these two is going to go to Mortal again, I think. Apart from Bosnian, he's going to switch back. Bosnian is going to switch back to the inside. Can he hold it? Through turn 2, it doesn't look like he's going to be able to. That was a neat move for all of about 30 seconds. And Mortal has managed to hold onto that overtake he made into turn 1, and Bosnian gave that all he could. Just about didn't get it back, and dude is going to go by now as well, and Bosnian might start tumbling towards the back of this grid, especially on those medium tyres. But Fatban is the next one in line to make that move on Bosnian. We're going to see if anything is happening towards the front. Not really. The Turbo Boy is still ahead of Perry, and we're just going to actually drop back into this battle again then, considering there's now 5 cars, if you want to include Alfaxid in front of Mortal here, trying to fight it out for the 5th place position in this race. The old dude's getting a little bit shaky on the exit of the third to last there, as they now head down towards the side through the second to last, now into the last corner of this lap. We're on to lap 19, I think we're about to be on. We're just about to see now, yep, lap 19 for the cars fighting for 5th. Lap 19 for the cars at the front of the grid as well. They're about to head into the end of the first sector at the front of the grid. There's not really anything happening in terms of overtaking this bunch. The 5 staying as it is for now. The medium tyres are not faring Bosnian very well at all in the slightest right now, especially especially as we see Fatman closing on that gap. Indeed, that also the gap opening to the 2 Vipers in front. The 2 Vipers in front need to start working as a team, try and move their way through this grid a little bit. Also got Tefos, who might be looking to try something here, but more Zandersek versus Asseldor here as we go down through into the hairpin. As the cars we're actually going to have a freeway a little bit in front here. We're actually going to rewind this a little bit because I want to see what actually happens And we're going to go down towards the hairpin here. There's our Faxid, Mortal, and Dude. They're all on the soft tire at this point in time. Mortal on the inside. Dude is currently on the outside. These two going side by side. Mortal is on the inside line, but our Faxid goes deep, and that's a move from the Dude as well, taking advantage of a hole created by his teammate. And that is teamwork at its finest. You see, when you get an opportunity, one to the inside, one to the outside, and making that switchback as our Faxid goes deep to try and hold the position there on Mortal, and it allowed both the Vipers through. And our Faxid's going to try and send it right back. Oh, that's contact. That is contact. You don't want to be doing that too often. And our Faxid's going to lose out here to Bosnian as well. Dude's going to lose out to his teammate. Our Faxid loses out to Bosnian, as our Faxid just sent it a little bit too late. Dive bomb into turn one. And when you do that, it doesn't want to. You just don't want to be the one that makes the mistake, makes the move, well, attempt to make the move, make the contact instead, and give up a few positions as a result. That's exactly what happened to our Faxid here. Lost to Dude, lost to Bosnian as well, and then he's about to lose to Fatman, who's about to have a lot of straight line speed in comparison to that Jaguar. That Jaguar is losing pace rapidly, and, well, this Ford is about to make mincemeat of it. He's made one move there. That's the one move that our Faxid made to try and protect his line here against Fatman. And yeah, Fatman's going to pull alongside to the inside here, and this should be the Ford's corner. Fatman on the inside. Can he get it slowed down? He will get it slowed down. He will be in front, and he gets a pretty good move there, albeit expected, against our Faxid. Much like Mortal did to our Faxid the corner before, Fatman's done it here. He's moved up into 8th. Our Faxid's not just not going to be able to use the straight line speed of that Jag to fight back, I don't think. We've got a little bit of a fight going in the background. Let's see if Fatman holds on against our Faxid here. Fatman is very much on the inside, and Fatman might not be able to hold on. He's got the inside. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about the tire wear. Our Faxid got Fatman immediately. That's pretty good work around there on Fatman. Our Faxid just led Fatman way too far to the inside and got himself enough move to basically pick and choose his spot where he wanted it, and that has been a rare good sight for the Jaguar so far this race. Also Tepos versus Van der Sek in the background as well. We got Fatman going against our Faxid once again through this corner. We're going to just glimpse further forward very quickly. Turbo Boy is going to hold off Perry for a little while longer, as Honey Badger has quite a lead. Ross is in 4th, but he's in no man land at the moment. No one to overtake, nobody to drive with. Mortal is ahead of his teammate Dude, and then you got Bosnian, and now we've got Fatman again against our Faxid in the background here. Now we're watching this. It's a little bit deep there from Fatman. Try and close the door, and yeah, that's going to be it's going to be effective there. Just a little bit of a scare tactic, if nothing else, with a little bit on the deep on the brakes, and gets past our Faxid, and there's no fight back this time. There is no hope of a fight back this time. There was no good run against Fatman for our Faxid, and that should be the end of that battle. Well, it should be for now anyway. We'll see if the tyre wear comes back sooner rather than later, but for now, Fatman has got himself in front. Tepos stays in front of Van der Sek as well. And Hasseldor is on the back of this group, but not really making a name for himself. Pasty's got a penalty. Chris has got a last place to his name at the moment, and will overtake Pasty sooner rather than later. We're going to head a little bit further up the grid than last. See if anything is happening as we go back up the grid. Right now, Van der Sek is trying against Tepos, but not really finding any leg room to work with at this point in time. Tepos just closing the door, placing his car where it needs to be placed at every opportunity he can get. And he's doing it pretty well right now, until Van der Sek gets a really good run there. Out the exit into sector 3. Can he make something work against that GTR in his BRZ? Right here, try and pull alongside, maybe make a move to the inside. Will look to the inside. And can he get it? Van der Sek will get it into the corner. It's pretty nicely done. It's an expected move. Uses the slipstream to his advantage. But the inside line is definitely a good move if you're going for an overtake. But if you need to defend, you need to defend it very well. They're now going to have a freeway battle down towards the line here, as we're now going into lap 23, down in the 10th. And here comes Asseldor, who's trying to not allow himself to be boxed in. Van der Sek is in front here. Asseldor on the outside of Tepos. Tepos on the inside will hold that position for now. Asseldor's going to try and keep his car there. Just make sure Tepos knows that he's there. And Tepos holds off just for a little while longer. Chris got in front of Pasty after Pasty's penalty on that lap. Fatban is against Arfaxid again. I would have thought Fatban should have been able to clear Arfaxid rather convincingly by this point, but that hasn't been the case. For a guy with Lightning McQueen livery, he's not very quick at this one. He was pretty quick in the sprint, just not getting anything going in the feature, as we're currently about to hit the 34-minute mark in this race. And further up the grid, Bodnian not close enough to the dude to make anything happen here. Mortal also quite convincingly in front of his teammates. Everyone right now just starting to work a little bit no man's land, especially 4th through probably like 5th or 6th. The battles are realistically happening toward the back, but we're still going to see if anything can happen toward the front. Right now, Perry is close, but not close enough to Turbo Boy, so that's not worth looking at towards the turn 1. Fatman has cleared Arfaxid again, going down into turn 1. That's usually how that straight line speed works. Tepos has got Asseldor in his back pocket at the moment. But he needs to get moving if he wants to get Van der Speck back, who's currently in 10th in the BRD. The BRDs are not having a fun day at the office. Arfaxid might still drop outside of the single digits as of yet, because he is now coming close to these 3 that we're currently watching. There's small battles going on elsewhere, roughly about a second, maybe a second and a half split them. But for now, this is the only real battle we see on the grid. Van der Speck has been pushed back into Tepos by Arfaxid's just existence at this point in time. Tepos also having a pretty good run on this lap. We're now heading down into the hairpin once again. Fatman's not going to be under any pressure. Tepos might be putting Van der Speck under any pressure though. And here comes the inside line for Tepos. He's actually got the move done well before the hairpin even hits. And that GTR just teaches the BRZ a lesson in that hairpin there. And yeah, the BRZ just never stood a chance. It does not like this track. It's very evident that is the case. It just did not stand any sort of chance whatsoever there against that Nissan GTR. Here comes the inside line for Van der Speck, who drops just straight back behind Asseldor. Heading into turn 1, which is a weird decision, because it didn't look like Van der Speck was even defending that. It just didn't put any pressure on Asseldor whatsoever. I mean, Asseldor won't be complaining. He's just going to take the free position while he can have them. And Tepos is now going straight after Arfaxid, not wasting any time whatsoever here. Trying to the inside of this Jaguar, now the outside. We're heading into the crux of Sector 2 here. And, well, now into the final corner of Sector 2 as well. As the Jaguar holds on for just a little while longer. Van der Speck is on the back of this group, but again, not really putting anything, any sort of pressure on whatsoever here. And Fatban is also off in the distance in front of us. So, can Tepos make a move on Arfaxid here? He looked for it on Van der Speck last time, got it before the hairpin. This time it won't be before the hairpin, but he is on the inside of that Jaguar and closes the door as well. There's no better exit happening there for the Jaguar. So the GTR, Tepos is up into 9th. Arfaxid in 10th. He's got to deal with Asseldor as well. Looking for a top 10 finish here. Here comes Arfaxid to try and fight immediately back. He's been good at that all day so far. Losing the position, but trying to fight it back immediately and then gaining it back immediately. Here comes Tepos on the inside against Arfaxid. Oh, it's Asseldor's in the grass. Asseldor is in the grass. And that is not good news for him. I'm not entirely sure what happened there. But Arfaxid went deep. Asseldor went even deeper and into the grass, and he's going to lose a number of positions as a result of that. And Tepos also got past Arfaxid in the end. Yeah, and that's 12th now for Asseldor, and Pasties and Chris are well at the back now as well. Van der Secker's got half a second worth of penalty. He'll take that on this lap because he already had that way before this corner, which is the final corner you can get a penalty before the game will actually let the first corner where the game won't let you serve it that lap. And yeah, Van der Secker's going to drop off the back of these two as well, which means the battle is slowly dissipating. But Bodnian is starting to get closer to the dude. Is slowly starting to get there. So right now, also, oh, that's a little bit of a nice move with the overspeed there from Mortal on Ross. Mortal trying to make it work. He's up into fourth now. He had a very good sprint, one that had that control of that from start to finish, and made that very easy at the end of the day for himself. But this one, not so much. This one he hasn't had as much of a fun time. Against Ross, but well, against the entire tier even. But he's managed to get past Ross, and up into fourth goes Mortal. The top three still very clear of each other, and not really going to be able to do much of anything whatsoever. As we're currently watching these two, they're going to fight it out. We're on lap 27 now. We're currently less than a minute before the clock hits 40, and that will be the end of the race for the people who haven't crossed the line by the time we hit that 40-minute mark. So toward the end of this race, Ross is now in fifth. He's ever so slightly dropping off the back of Mortal as well. Mortal having another good lap in that Viper, trying to make himself in a good position to really get himself solidified at that fourth place. Ross has got dead tires, like all but completely dead tires actually. Almost a red box on that rear right. Maybe pit one lap too early at the end of the day. Dude also very clear of Bodnian, who must have had an issue because he's now in 8th. And Fatban over the line, so Fatban's going to be the first one to actually finish, but ended 7th overall. Tepos gets 8th, Bodnian gets 9th, Faxid gets 10th, Van der Sveck 11th. Won't be a disappointing day for him. Hasseldor got 12th, Pasty got 13th, Chris will come over the line in last. So we've got a Honey Badger right now who hasn't been challenged. Not at all challenged in this race whatsoever. He had reverse grid pole, he did 16th in the sprint, which is obviously never a good sign. But if you can get yourself if the worst comes to worst, you get yourself a reverse grid pole, you should realistically be aiming to convert that, and it's been done very convincingly today by Honey Badger, who's now going around the second to last. And into the final corner we go, and this is essentially just the end of the victory lap here for Honey Badger as he goes over the line to win the first feature race of the season here in Tier 2. And that was a very convincing win nonetheless. Turbo gets second, Perry gets third, Mortal will cross the line in fourth, Ross gets fifth, and the dude, unchallenged because no one else reached the final lap, will come over in 6th place. Pretty good day there for the Vipers. 4th and 6th in the feature. I'm pretty sure it was a double top 7 as well in the sprint. So it's a good day for the constructors in terms of the Vipers there as well. The Porsches recovering a bad sprint race as they came 3rd and 5th. I don't think they'll be too disappointed with the result in the end. Honey Badger is going to be elated that he won the first feature race of the season. So that'll put him toward the front of the championship. Maybe not at the front because he got 16th and scored 0 points in the sprint race itself. But you can't complain when you get reverse grid pole and comfortably convert that into a win. Turbo also getting second. Getting second after a poor sprint as well. Poor sprint in his eyes. That was hampered by a spin at the end, and albeit not his fault. Yeah, there's a lot that happened there. Fatman might be a little bit disappointed with his day, his 7th place in that car is extremely disappointing after what, well, that car is the best car on this track. But that is it for Tier 2. Week 1 of Tier 2 in the books. Deep Forest out of the way. Spa on Monday night. For all 6 tiers, Tier 1 goes live on the actual race night. The rest of the tiers will be done in post-comms. I'll be here for Tier 2. I'll also be here for Tier 5. I'm not decided whether or not that'll just be back-to-back or not. I'll figure that out going into next week. But for now, it's been fun. I'm enjoying doing these comms. It's always a great time to see who's battling who and see if anything else can go up on the channel as well. The different shots and everything. Like, it's exciting time for the channel, especially those shots hitting. I think it was 4,000 views the last time I knew. But yeah, so we're trying to hit 1,000 subs. If you haven't already, please just do the quick like, subscribe, and all that stuff. I'm definitely not shilling all that at all. That's not my style. But yeah, that is essentially it. That's all we've got for day 1. All we got for week 1, rather, of the season. 7 more to go. Quarter of the way through the season in the league. Next week, Spa is going to be chaos. It's got the weather settings. It's going to be an absolute nightmare. But till then, in a bit.